In the final days before Alexis Crawford disappeared, something had already gone wrong. It was reported, it was documented, and it involved someone who would later become central to her case. Days later, Alexis was gone. Alexis Crawford was 21 years old, a senior at Clark Atlanta University, and close to the finish line. Graduation wasn't some distant idea, it was right there within reach. She was studying criminal justice, focused on building a life where she could help people, stand for something, and do work that mattered. She came from a big family, 5 brothers, 4 sisters, a house full of people who stayed connected. She spoke to them constantly, not occasionally, not when she had time. Her father worked in law enforcement, and that sense of discipline carried into her life. Alexis wasn't careless. She showed up where she needed to be when she needed to be there. At school, she lived off campus with her roommate, Jordan Jones. From the outside, their situation looked solid. They were close. Alexis even referred to Jordan as her best friend. Jordan knew her family well, spent holidays with them, and had been welcomed into their space. For 2 college students randomly paired to live together, it seemed like things had worked out. By the end of October 2019, campus energy was building. Homecoming weekend was coming up, but Alexis wasn't caught up in all of that. On October 30th, around the afternoon, she FaceTimed her mother and sister. Everything about that call felt routine. Later that night, her sister checked in again, asking what her plans were. Alexis kept it simple, nothing. That answer matters, because what happened next didn't happen in the middle of a crowd. It happened in a space that should have been familiar. That same night, Alexis remained active for a while. She posted on Instagram, replied to a message, and then everything stopped. Her phone went silent. At first, that silence didn't immediately trigger panic. People have quiet nights. People go offline. But by the next morning, it was different. Alexis hadn't checked in, and for someone like her, that stood out immediately. Her family noticed. Because she didn't go hours without speaking to them, that just wasn't her pattern. They tried calling, straight to voicemail. As time passed, the concern grew heavier. By November 1st, Alexis had missed class. Then she didn't show up for work. That's when it shifted from concern to something more serious. This wasn't someone being busy. This wasn't someone forgetting. This was someone who had broken every routine she had. Her family reported her missing. Police got involved quickly. A 21-year-old college senior gone without explanation.
Thank you all for coming. This is a very difficult moment for the family of Alexis Crawford, who has been missing since Wednesday evening and somewhere between Wednesday evening and early Thursday morning. Alexis is a 21-year-old student at Clark Atlanta University, which is a member of the Atlanta University Center, the largest consortium of African American colleges and universities in the country. A young lady who's got her whole life ahead of her from Athens, Georgia. She graduated from Clark Central High School in Athens and is the daughter of 2 very loving parents and a member of a very large family. She has 4 sisters and 5 brothers, most of whom stand with us here today. Alexis is somebody that this family loves and cares very much for, and they are praying for her return. But we are here today to ask the people of Atlanta to come forward with help and information that could lead to Alexis's return to her family. This afternoon, let me first start by saying this morning I got a call from Monica, who is Alexis's sister, and she called, and we immediately got involved to try to help this family through a very difficult set of circumstances and navigating through the various law enforcement agencies that are actively looking for Ms. Crawford. We met earlier today with the Clark Atlanta Police Department's Chief of Police, Chief Deborah Williams, and she assured this family that the Clark Atlanta Police Department would do everything it could to bring this young lady home to her family. And we just finished a meeting with the senior leadership here in the Atlanta Police Department, who also assured this family that as the lead investigative agency, they would do all that they could. And the family and I have great confidence in the men and women that are looking for Ms. Crawford. And we have every reason to believe that Atlanta Police will get to the bottom of what happened to her. But today I stand with this family asking for several things of the people of Atlanta. First, I would ask the people of Atlanta to pray for the family and for Ms. Crawford. This is nothing short of a tragic set of circumstances. We know she's gone through a lot. She recently experienced some things that no young woman should ever have to experience. And so we ask the people of Atlanta to pray for Alexis and her family. But secondly, and more importantly, there are people in this community, students in the AU Center and other places, that may have information that can be helpful in finding out just where Ms. Crawford is. And I would ask the people of Atlanta to come forward with any information that you might have to help the Atlanta Police Department to do their very best in finding Ms. Crawford and bringing her home. There are several people that I want to ask to say something very briefly to you. We recognize, and the family recognizes, that this is an active and ongoing investigation, so they will not be briefing the public, as I will not, on everything that is known, because we don't want to undermine the investigation. We simply want the people of Atlanta to come forward with information. There may be a point later in the week where we announce a canvass of the community where near where Ms. Crawford lived. She lived only a couple of blocks away from Clark Atlanta University. So we may come back to the public and ask for the public to help this family to canvass. The bottom line is there is a young woman who is missing. She was sent from Athens, Georgia to Atlanta by her family to receive an education. And I think the people of Atlanta owe it to this family to do all that we can as a community to help the Atlanta Police Department to get to the bottom of this set of circumstances. I've asked several members of Ms. Crawford's family to make a brief statement to you all, and the captain who's overseeing this investigation is going to make a statement as well, and then the captain and I will attempt to answer any of your questions, but we don't want to subject the family to too much conversation. The first person that I would ask to speak is Mr. Bobby Wright, who is Ms. Crawford's father, who drove up from Athens and has made the determination he's not leaving this city until his baby is found. Mr. Crawford.
Baby, I love you, baby. Just come home. Come home, baby. You know, just come home. I love you. Just come home. I'm not gonna leave until you get home.
A hard time for our family, and if Lexi, she's watching, I just want you to know you've always been my role model. You're my strength, my aspirations in life, and I just want you to come home and be safe. And I hope God's walking with you, and please prevent any evil that comes our way. And we're here for you. I love you, Alexis, and miss you.
I've been, for a couple of decades, dealing with issues of civil and human rights in Atlanta, and these kinds of situations are by far the most difficult to try to reconcile. But the family is assured. They have met again with the Atlanta Police Department after meeting with the Clark Atlanta Police Department. They are assured that the investigators are doing all that they can, and we're thankful to the APD, and most especially the lead on this is Captain Gwen Villarreal, Close enough, she said. Captain Gwynn is the assistant commander of major crimes for the Atlanta Police Department. And so the captain is going to come forward and give us some words.
Good afternoon. I just want to echo what has already been stated from Reverend Hutchins and from the family members in their plea. As you can see, the emotions are running very deep. This is a praying, believing family, and they do believe in their holding faith that Alexis will come home. And so we're petitioning yet again the public for your assistance in those efforts. So if you have any additional information that you can provide the Atlanta Police Department, we're encouraging each and every one of you to call Crime Stoppers. We can't stress that enough. There's nothing that that you may think is not important. Everything that you have is important at this time, because we need to bring Ms. Crawford back home safely to her family. So that is our priority at this time. And so we're asking Atlanta yet again to call, as we know that Crime Stoppers does offer a reward, and your information that you provide to us will remain anonymous. So again, we're asking and we're pleading for the Atlanta, the citizens of this great city, to actually make sure we get involved and we do everything possible in order to reconnect this loving family.
Thank you, Captain. Again, and finally, Atlanta is the home of the largest consortium of African American colleges and universities in the United States of America. And we are all, of course, very proud of the AU Center and the bright and brilliant young people that are educated there. This could be any one of our families. Any family that is watching the evening news tonight will and should sympathize with this family. So again, we appeal to the people of Atlanta to come forward with information, to call Crime Stoppers, and to alert the law enforcement authorities of any information. We encourage students on the campus of Clark Atlanta University, as well as Morehouse, Spelman, the Morehouse School of Medicine, and Morris Brown. If you heard anything, if you've heard anything that's gossip or you believe is rumor, no issue, no information is too small or insignificant, please come forward. And most importantly, we are a city that has overcome a great deal, and the faith of our people in the city of Atlanta has kept us through a lot of tumultuous times. I can't think of a more important thing that the people of Atlanta could be praying for and praying towards than the safe return of Alexis Crawford.
Investigators started with the basics: last known movements, last confirmed sightings, and all of it pointed back to one place: her apartment and the person who had seen her last. Jordan. Jordan told police that she had driven Alexis to a liquor store around 11:30 that night. Surveillance footage confirmed Alexis was there. According to Jordan, she saw Alexis again about an hour later. After that, she said she went to sleep. When she woke up the next morning, Alexis was gone. She told investigators that Alexis wasn't in the apartment. Her phone, her ID, her debit card, gone. The door had been locked. At first, it sounded like Alexis may have stepped out, but there was a problem. No one had seen her, not friends, not classmates. No one could confirm being with her that night. And when police looked for additional surveillance footage beyond the liquor store, there was nothing. No footage of her returning, no footage of her leaving again. It was like her movements just stopped. Meanwhile, outside the investigation, the search was growing. Students, volunteers, people from the community started looking for her. Social media picked it up. Her name began circulating. Search efforts focused on areas close to her apartment, including a patch of overgrown land nearby. But as the days passed, hope started to weaken, because nothing about this situation lined up with who Alexis was. And then investigators uncovered something that shifted the direction of the case entirely. Something Alexis had already reported, and suddenly the focus wasn't on where she might have gone. It was on what had already happened and who had been around her when it did. 3 days before Alexis disappeared, she went to the hospital, and from there she filed a police report. What she described pointed directly at someone she knew. Jordan's boyfriend, Baron Brantley. That night, the three of them had been drinking together inside the apartment. At some point, Alexis said Baron started making advances toward her, trying to kiss her, touch her. She rejected him. According to her report, he claimed he thought she was Jordan, but Alexis didn't accept that. She pulled away and went into her bedroom. He followed. That's when things became unclear. She went into the bathroom alone and closed the door. After that, she said she didn't remember anything. When she woke up, her underwear had been ripped. Baron was partially dressed. Jordan had been outside the door, knocking. When the door opened, Baron reportedly said, "I did not rape Alexis." Hours later, he had already left the apartment in Jordan's car. And when police were called, the report that came in wasn't about the assault. It was about the car. That detail didn't sit right. Alexis went to the hospital and completed a rape kit. The results would later connect back to Baron. But in the days that followed, something else happened inside that apartment. Baron came back. Jordan let him back in. And Alexis didn't know. At that point, Alexis no longer felt comfortable in her own room. She had started sleeping in the living area instead, trying to create distance. She felt unsafe. And while she was doing that, the person she had accused was still inside the apartment. She just didn't know it. Sometime in the early hours of October 31st, everything came to a breaking point. According to what would later be said, a fight broke out between Alexis and Jordan. No one can fully confirm how it started, but it turned physical. Baron was in the apartment. When he heard the commotion, he got involved. From there, things escalated quickly. Baron admitted to choking Alexis. At the same time, Jordan grabbed a plastic bag and placed it over her head. Together, they held her there. She struggled to breathe, and within minutes, it was over. There were no witnesses outside that apartment. But what happened next was captured in pieces. Surveillance from the apartment complex showed a car being pulled up around 3 o'clock in the morning, Jordan's car. Investigators believe this was when Alexis's body was moved. Inside the apartment, they placed her body into a plastic bin. They attempted to clean the scene, focusing on the living room area. Then they carried her out, loaded her into the car, and drove away. They traveled miles away from the apartment to a park in DeKalb County. There, they left her, in a wooded area. After that, they returned to the apartment. Later that same day, they continued with their lives. Jordan even contacted a friend asking her to replace the bin. That night, they went out to a Halloween party. From the outside, everything looked normal. Back at the apartment, investigators began processing the scene. At first glance, it appeared clean. But once they used luminol, the truth started to show. Blood traces appeared in multiple areas of the living room, at least 6 separate spots. There had been an attempt to clean it, but not enough to erase it. As detectives continued digging, inconsistencies started to build. Statements didn't fully match. And the more pressure applied, the more the story began to shift. Eventually, Jordan led investigators to the location where Alexis had been left. About 11 miles away from the apartment, that's where they found her, inside a park. Her body had been placed inside a bin. The cause of death was strangulation. The search was over. But the case had only just begun.
But first, we want to go to the breaking news on the missing CAU student sadly found dead. Atlanta police about to give an update in just minutes.
The CBS 46 Bulldog, Jonathan Carlson, is the first on the scene. And Jonathan, we're hearing word that Alexis Crawford's roommate and her roommate's boyfriend have confessed to her murder.
Yeah, guys, good afternoon. You first heard that on CBS 46. We're live right now inside the lobby of APD Police Headquarters. We're awaiting a news conference on the disappearance of Alexis Crawford. A tragic end to this story, as you mentioned. This young woman's body found in DeKalb County a short time ago. CBS 46 sources telling us she was murdered, her roommate and the roommate's boyfriend confessing to the crime and leading police to the body. We've learned she was also sexually assaulted leading up to her disappearance. Now, the 21-year-old Clark Atlanta University student missing for over a week. Crawford last seen on October 30th at a liquor store near her off-campus apartment. You may remember the surveillance video that we've been showing you all week of her last appearance there. She left the Heritage Station Apartments. Her roommate told police that she saw her that night and that she was then gone in the morning. We now know that that story has drastically changed. The young woman from Athens, Georgia, her family has been extremely distraught. Vigils held over the last week or so, but again, within the last 2 hours or so, a word from our sources that there was a break in the case. APD scheduling a press conference at 5 o'clock, which is in less than 10 minutes, where we're expected to learn more about the circumstances surrounding this. But again, this young woman, we're told by multiple sources in high-level places, that she was murdered, her body found in DeKalb County, and that her roommate and the roommate's boyfriend confessed to this crime. We will, of course, be in that press conference, hopefully bring it to you live, and have a recap as soon as we hear from police. For now, we're live inside police headquarters. I'm Jonathan Carlson, the CBS 46 Bulldog.
Once Alexis was found, arrests followed quickly. Jordan Jones and Barron Brantley were both charged with her murder. The reaction across campus was immediate. Students weren't just processing the loss of Alexis. They were also trying to understand how it happened and who was responsible. Both of them pleaded not guilty. The charges included felony murder, false imprisonment, and concealing a death. Barron also faced additional charges tied to prior offenses. During hearings, details continued to surface. Prosecutors alleged that after Alexis was killed, Jordan attempted to cover things up. They pointed to messages where she encouraged the destruction of surveillance evidence. There were also claims that she misled Alexis's family, telling them there was no DNA connection from the rape kit when results had actually pointed back to Barron. At one point, her legal team argued for bond, saying she had no serious criminal history and had cooperated. But the court saw it differently. They noted that shortly after Alexis's death, Jordan had withdrawn from school and was preparing to leave the state. There were also concerns about attempts to contact witnesses. Bond was denied. Barron remained in custody as well. As the case moved forward, both sides began distancing themselves from each other, each placing blame elsewhere. Their legal teams requested separate trials, and then came a major development. Barron's confession was ruled inadmissible in court. The reasoning centered on concerns about his condition at the time, including the possibility that he had been under the influence. That decision created challenges for the prosecution. Without that confession, the case would rely more heavily on physical evidence and the remaining statements. As of years later, delays continued. No final resolution had been reached. And for Alexis's family, that meant waiting. Alexis Crawford was 21 years old. In the final days of her life, she reported something serious. She spoke up, and days later, she was gone. Her family continues to carry that loss, not just the loss itself, but the way it happened. And for those left behind, the question doesn't go away. Not how it ended, but why it ever had to happen at all. Subscribe to Crime in Cold Light for more cases like this.